I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Village Board for August 14th, 2018. Can you please join us for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Village Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President DeSimone,
Here.
Trustee Carmona,
Here.
Trustee Franz,
Here.
Trustee Jaworska,
Here.
Trustee Lomax,
Here.
Trustee Penicola,
Here.
Trustee Perez.
Here.
That's 7. We have a quorum.
At this time, we have a public hearing for a proposed annexation agreement between the Bensenville Park District and the Village of Bensenville for the White Pines Golf Course and Pines Park. We will now open the public hearing on the proposed annexation agreement between the Bensenville Park District and the Village of Bensenville for White Pines Golf Course and Pines Park. If any person would like to speak during the public hearing on the village's proposed annexation agreement, I ask that you please approach the podium and state your name and comment. And I know we have Gary Gardner.
You're starting off with him first?
I would ask that the comments remain focused on the White Pines Golf Course annexation. There's a public comment period following this regarding, I'm assuming, judging by some of the faces, for the neighborhood annexations.
Hello, my name is Gary Gardner, and I live in White Pines. Over the past few years, I have attended several Bensenville Park Board meetings at the Leisure Center. At one such meeting, I distinctly remember the Park Board citing video gaming at the golf course as its main reason for wanting to re-annex to Bensenville. They claim now not to be interested in gaming, but yet there is language in this agreement and even a 5-year waiver for Bensenville to give them their percentage of the profit. Where is the transparency here? We have recently become aware of your interest in selling off part or even all of the golf course. Bensenville has recently tipped its hand about its interest in obtaining home rule. For that, they will need another 6,000 or 7,000 residents. Any decision regarding this drastic change to our community should not be voted on by a few elected board members, but put out for referendum. I was born and raised in this community and have, over the last 30 years, watched it become a mecca for cheap gas, cheap booze, and tobacco. Please stop this action before we add cheap housing to that list. Thank you.
Is there any other public hearing comments?
Thank you for asking, Frank. I'm Paul DeMichael. I live at 17W275 Rodeck Lane. I got a copy of the annexation agreement about a month ago. And so I read some of the highlights, financial impacts. Gary referenced the video gaming. There was a clause in there that said the village would waive their share of the video gaming proceeds for 5 years, beginning from the first date at the golf course. The sales tax, the village currently imposes an 8.25% sales tax. Annexation of the property would be premised on an agreement that the village would rebate 2% of the sales tax revenue paid to the district, resulting in increased revenue. Liquor license fees, the county charges $5,050 for a liquor license for the property. In comparison, Bensenville Village charges, and that was left blank. Water fees, the village would provide water for the pool at Deer Grove Leisure Center. The costs would continue waiver of sewer charges. Amusement tax, the village would not impose any amusement tax. This is a lot of giveaways. I'm concerned in that this is the first meeting I saw this discussed. I can't believe, I guess part of being on a board is you get together in a room and you do things at an open public meeting and discuss it in the open. I haven't seen that. So, you know, I'm wondering about boardsmanship. If people understand what a board is supposed to do, This is not individual email notices back and forth. Your power comes from being in the room at the same time and doing your business in front of the public. So I guess I'm asking you, did you do your due diligence on this? And do you really know what all this is going to bring?
Thank you. Is there any other public comment in regards to the golf course annexation? At this time, we will conclude the public hearing on the village's proposed annexation, and it is now closed. We will proceed with the regular order of business. So we will move to public comment now. Does anyone wish to address the board? If so, please approach the podium and state your name.
Okay, we have two.
We have three. Gary Gardner, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Gary Gardner. I live in White Pines. I was born and raised in White Pines and have resided here for all but 6 of my 60 years. It is truly amazing that I still have the original neighbors to the east and west, especially when you consider the average American moves 11.4 times in their lifetime. There are still several seniors living here even longer than us, and many more that plan to stay here through their golden years. Village of Bensenville officials have and continue to overlook this phenomenon. Your solution for upgrading our water system has very many residents rethinking that, including myself. Some seniors on fixed incomes will be forced to move with either one of your proposals. Have or will any of you consider the moral aspect of this plan? Over the last several decades, the Village of Bensenville has profited millions of dollars from selling White Pines residents water through a system that it doesn't even own. The Village of Bensenville has imposed various fees and policies to that water service and changes them at will, always to their benefit. If the Village of Bensenville would not have reneged on the program set up in 1987, our entire system would have already been replaced around the year 2000, and we wouldn't be in this situation. But this is complicated. The water system has always been the hook that keeps us prey to this struggling municipality. If you honestly want to fix Bensenville, you should address the stigma that plagues this town instead of balancing your budget and increasing your borrowing power on the backs of the White Pines residents. Mr. President, when you spoke at our annual meeting, you stated that you have a proposal that you have to run by your board. How is it that we get your proposal before your board even votes on it? And we are expected to make a decision by the end of the month? We can't be sure if your inflated figures on the no annexation spreadsheet were an oversight or deliberate to send us into sticker shock. And what about the most costly water main repair in our history, the month before your proposal comes out? Isn't it instilled in the mind of all you detectives there is no such thing as coincidence? Mr. President, you have stated repeatedly that you would not force us to annex. Yet, your divide and conquer tactic will surely force our hand. Your scheme will very likely wage war between people who have been friends, neighbors for years, even decades, simply because one has a different exit plan or uses more water than the other. There are still many elements regarding your proposal that have not been addressed, and it will take some time to make sure all the bases have been covered and we have done our due diligence. Let's put the brakes on this plan right now. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Christopher Cologne?
My name is Christopher Cologne, and I'm a resident of unincorporated Bensenville called White Pines. The village is proposing to replace the water mains within White Pines at a cost of approximately $7 million. They claim that the project is going to move forward, and we can either voluntarily annex or pay close to triple the water rate. I do not call that a voluntary decision. And Bensenville admits that taxes are not used for water replacement projects. Those funds come out exclusively from the water fund. Now, where do the water funds come from? They come from the charges located within our water bills. Both Bensenville residents and White Pine residents have all the same line item charges, within the water bills. And White Pines residents have been paying 50% more for the water for decades. Here is the problem. Why is it when a water main replacement project is needed in Bensenville, the money comes from the water fund? And when White Pines need their pipes replaced, the village will not touch the water fund. This is simply unfair. You cannot treat residents of White Pines unequally when we pay the same line item water charges at Bensenville. We have been paying a higher rate for years, and only Bensenville gets to take from the water fund. In conclusion, we have already paid for the replacement project through our water bills, just like Bensenville residents. And it's time that you use the funds from the water fund to fund our project. There is no need to annex to Bensenville. Mr. Summers, I appreciate that you answered my questions, but then I sent follow-up questions, and you stated they were technical and nuanced. Those questions are very simple. They're not technical, they're not nuanced, and they're all about the water. I would love to talk to you, but it's he said versus she said. Just put your answers in writing. I will share your responses with everybody in White Pines, whoever wants them. Thank you.
Mr. Cologne, you're looking for one-word answers to very philosophical questions.
I never asked for one-word answers. If you want to explain yourself, please do. Explain all.
And my
explain
offer still stands. I'd love to sit down with you and discuss it in person.
I prefer you put it in writing so everyone can see what's going on. It's not what Chris Cologne said. It's what you state on behalf of Bensenville.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, are you acting on your behalf or on behalf of the residents?
I'm acting as a
confused on-
resident of White Pines. I'm entitled to know
Are
these
you
questions.
acting on your behalf as an attorney for White
No,
Pines?
I'm a resident. I'm a resident of White Pines. I pay water. Bensenville people pay water. Why are you taking money from the waterfront for Bensenville projects and us? You don't touch that fund. We pay the same bills. You said it so yourself. Why are you treating us differently?
Because you're unincorporated residents.
What does that mean? So what?
Again, that's the
It doesn't
philosophical-
come out of the taxes. Taxes have nothing to do with it. You combine the taxes with the water, and it's a misrepresentation. Taxes have nothing to do with it. It's even on right now. Go to the White Pines Bensenville. Go to the Village of Bensenville's website. They frequently ask questions. One of the questions asked: Where do you get your water from? Do you pay for your water projects from the taxes? The answer is no. It's exclusively from the water bills.
Currently, that is correct.
Oh, it has been for decades.
And for this
Currently
project,
and prior to this.
Mr. Cologne, for this project to go forward, the option is for if you want to annex, those new tax dollars to the village would go to the debt service. That's how the IPA loan is being structured. That's the new way that it's being structured. It's a differentiation from historical practice. That's correct.
But how about for decades? You did not. Taxes had nothing to do with it. For decades, we've been paying into the fund. For decades, we've been being charged 50%. For decades, you've been also doing a separate fund for unincorporated. I'm not even talking about the separate $1 million fund. That's in addition to the 50%. That's in addition to the water service we've been paying, just like
Exceeded our
Bensenville
3
residents.
minutes. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gina Mellenthin?
Hi, I'm Gina Mellenthin from White Pines, unincorporated Bensenville. Can I still address the Park District also?
Yeah.
Together, it won't take me long. I was on the Park Board, a commissioner from 2000 to 2006. And I have gone to many Park District meetings where I sit and I listen to the Park District President, Rich Johnson, say, I never voted to take that golf course out of the Bensenville village limits. And it's hurtful because we all looked at the same executive session minutes where we all sat and looked that we were taking and we were losing money. And the stringent liquor license was the reason why we took that golf course out of the village limits. And we weren't going to be allowed golf carts. We had one outing left, the Sisters of Resurrection. I ask you, though, millions of dollars were spent to take the golf course out of the limits. And I wonder why, what's the reasoning to put it back? And what's it going to cost to put it back? And I just think that you should have a educated decision on the move that you're making. That is the Park District version. And I have a short synopsis. if my friend can give you guys the sheet. I'm not even going to read it because it's been said that we don't want to go backwards. And I agree 100%. We don't want to go backwards. But I do believe that this board, and none of you were around in 85 at the village part, so you don't know what happened. I lived it from 85 to date, and I know what had happened. And everything on these bullet points, every single one of them, I have proof. If you have questions, I have documents that everything in this document is, I have proof of what I'm saying. If there's any questions, everybody knows where I'm at. They know where I live. I would welcome any questions, and then you can see our reasoning why we don't want to have you do the water. One of my biggest problems, 3/4 of our water system was put in by our residents, millions of dollars. Now to abandon that system and make our residents pay again and annex into that village and have the taxes, I think it's hard on these seniors. The water rates are ridiculous. I just would like to see eye to eye. I didn't come here to beat anybody up. Anybody asks me, I want to run for Park District. If I say don't do it, you like people to like you, don't run for an elected.
Gina, we're approaching 3
Okay,
minutes.
don't run for an elected position. I didn't wake up in the morning when I was an elected official. I didn't want half the community to hate me. That's not what I came here for. I like every one of you guys on the board personally, and I hope we can work this out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Melton.
Is there any more public comment? All right, this will conclude public comment. Moving on, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the July 17, 2018 Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Are there any modifications to the minutes? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion carries and the minutes are now approved. The next item of business is to approve the warrant in the amount of $2,899,578.81. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
You have a motion?
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the warrant? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona? Yes. Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Jaworska?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
The motion carries and the warrant is now approved. There are no items on the consent agenda. Moving on to Community and Economic Development Committee. An ordinance approving an annexation agreement between the Bensonville Park District and the Village of Bensonville for White Pines Golf Course and Pines Park. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Jaworska?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
The motion carries and ordinance is now passed. Number 2 is an ordinance annexing the White Pines Golf Course to the Village of Bensonville. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Jaworska?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
The motion carries and the ordinance is now passed. Moving on to the Police Department. Number 1 is an ordinance amending Title III, Chapter 3, Section 5 of the Bensonville Village Code to reduce the number of Class E1 liquor licenses outstanding at any one time from 12 to 11. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Jaworska?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
The motion carries and the ordinance is now passed. Number 2 is an ordinance amending Title III of the Bensonville Village Code to provide for a Class K liquor license for the sale of liquor, beer, and wine on the premises of the golf course. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Jaworska,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax.
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's six.
The motion carries and the ordinance is now passed. Moving on to Public Works. Number one is an ordinance of the Village of Bensenville, DuPage, and Cook County, Illinois, amending the Bensenville Village Code to provide for regulations of and application for small wireless facilities. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona. Yes. Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Jaworska,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax.
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's six.
The motion carries and ordinance is now passed. We do not have a report for recreation. Moving on to the president's remarks, just a reminder, school starts on Monday, so please be alert when driving so our kids can get to school safely. Music in the Park, tomorrow's Music in the Park is canceled due to some storms that are rolling in. So we're gonna move that Music in the Park to Wednesday, August 29th. Also, please remember to join us on August 22nd for the fan favorite Seventh Heaven. They'll be here. And me, I'm gonna take this one away from Evan. I'd like to appoint Detective Michael Petak to the rank of sergeant. So,
Someone taking picture. Oh, Mary's taking pictures.
raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Michael T. Petak,
I, Michael T. Petak,
have been appointed to the position of sergeant in the Village of Bensenville.
have been appointed to rank sergeant in the
All right. I, Michael T. Petak,
I, Michael T. Petak,
have been appointed
have been appointed
to the position
to the position
of sergeant
of sergeant
in the Village of Bensenville,
in the village of Bensenville,
in the counties of DuPage and Cook,
in the counties of DuPage and Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of sergeant
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of sergeant
of the Village of Bensenville
of the village of Bensenville
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
A little background on Officer Petak. He's been with the department since the year 2000. He joined the investigations unit in 2003, and he serves on the Major Crimes Task Force. So we're pretty excited to have his level of experience to join us as a sergeant, and we look forward to many years of service with the department.
Picture, here, back.
Let's get the family up here, take some pictures, and then we've got some of the officers in the room. We'll have them join us as well. Can we also have the officers in the back of the room join us for a picture?
I'll go over here. Well, maybe try. They're all tall on the side.
Stay safe out there, guys. Thank you.
That's all I have for president's remarks. Do we have any village manager's report?
My items are a lot less fun than yours are because you stole that one from me. CMAP has their Module 2 of the draft zoning ordinance up on our website. We encourage residents and businesses to go on a review of that exciting document. And please provide comment back to the village or CMAP. Village Hall will be observing Labor Day and will be closed Saturday, September 1st and Monday, September 3rd. And then we've gotten a few complaints up in the village manager's office regarding the brush pickup. Residents seem to forget the brush pickup schedule, so I thought we could review that. We pick up brush the first full week of each month through November. It should be out the Friday before, and then the Monday at 7 a.m. Otherwise, it may not get picked up. We just completed our first pickup for the month, and there's already a bunch of brush out. So try to follow the schedule. The schedule's on our website as well. That is all I have for housekeeping items. Back to you.
Do we have a village attorney report?
I have no report, Mr. President.
Is there any unfinished business to come before the board tonight? Is there any new business to come before the board tonight? Is there a need for executive session?
There is not, Mr. President.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.